You lost your lawyer this week. Mr. Genson has quit. Do you know why?
Well, I have a legal team. He's one of the lawyers. He's a great lawyer. I liken him to a modern-day F. Lee Bailey, who's from the San Francisco Bay Area, where you're from. Right. But he made a decision, and I sad to see him go. And he's a great lawyer.
What he said was, I've been practicing law for 44 years. I've never required a client to do what I say, but I do require them to at least listen to what I say. He's implying that you weren't listening to some of his advice. Is there something he advised you to do that you disagreed with him on? You didn't do?
Well, having this interview with you and other interviews.
Embattled, impeached, and indicted former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich appeared on this show while he was right in the middle of the scandal that ended his political career. He did that interview with me just days after his lead attorney announced he was quitting, having already been caught up in a federal wiretap and charged at the time with trying to trade the president's old Senate seat for Mr. Blagojevich's personal or political gain. The then still barely governor gave tons of interviews to lots of media outlets, including this one, where he said some things that I thought at the time were going to get him into trouble. When we aired our interview that night, watch this. This was a little bit of foreshadowing. Given what the governor told me today, it occurs to me that the Illinois State Senate and maybe Patrick Fitzgerald, the prosecutor, might want to take a close listen to exactly what the governor said to me today. Because Governor Blagojevich may have moved the story forward tonight, I think it's not inconceivable that tonight's transcripts, tonight's tapes may end up in the criminal proceedings against him. After all of these TV interviews that he's done, the governor may have opened up a little more than he wanted to. He may have actually confessed to some wrongdoing here. The things to keep in mind here, first and most importantly, in our discussion of whether there was a quid pro quo, he admitted wanting to get something tangible in return for Barack Obama's vacant U.S. Senate seat. Listen to his response after I quoted back one of his wiretapped phone calls. Speaking about Barack Obama's advisors, they're not willing to give me anything but appreciation in exchange for the Senate seat. Bleep them. What would you want other than appreciation? What could be kosher to exchange for a Senate seat?
How about helping us pass health care and a jobs bill and helping the people of Illinois?
How about helping us pass health care and a jobs bill? That's what Mr. Blagojevich openly told me he wanted in exchange for the Barack Obama Senate seat appointment. I mean, obviously, that's not as lurid as the criminal complaint against him, which alleges that he wanted a job for himself, a job for his wife, a cabinet appointment, campaign donations in exchange for that seat. But he is admitting that he was looking for something in return for that appointment. Quid pro quo is quid pro quo, even if you're asking for something good, isn't it? So I predicted that night that what then still barely Governor Rod Blagojevich told me in January 2009 could end up being used in criminal proceedings against him. They didn't the first time around. Mr. Blagojevich's first corruption trial ended last year with a guilty verdict on one count and the jury deadlocked on the other 23 counts. Because of that deadlock, he is being retried on 20 counts now. And today, federal prosecutors filed a motion to introduce as evidence in the new corruption trial, quote, a video recorded statement made by the defendant during a television interview on January 27th, 2009 on this show. But it's not the part where he says, yeah, but what if I was trading the Senate seat for something awesome, something people like? It's not the part where he says essentially that some quid pro quo is okay. Instead, this is the part they want to use. Do you agree that it would be wrong, it would be criminal for you to try to exchange Barack Obama's U.S. Senate seat, that appointment, for something that would be of value to you? You agree that that would be wrong?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Personal, one for the other, personal gain, absolutely.
And you didn't do that?
Absolutely not.
That's the section of Mr. Blagojevich's interview on this show that federal prosecutors want to use as evidence against him in his corruption retrial. Prosecutors say in the last trial, the one that ended with all the deadlock, part of his defense was to suggest that he didn't know what he was doing was illegal because none of his lawyers or advisors had told him so. Quote, tell me one piece of evidence that came in here when Blagojevich's general counsel said, no, it's illegal, or on such and such a date, Governor, that's illegal, you can't do that. Tell me one time, just one time. Have them play one tape. You had about 5,500 conversations, and not one did they play for you where they say, you can't do this, Governor. It's the exact opposite. This man had no idea you couldn't do it because everybody told him he could, and not only could, should. That was the argument made by Blagojevich's lawyer during his last corruption trial. This time around for the retrial, the prosecution wants to be able to answer that argument, apparently, with this. Do you agree that it would be wrong, it would be criminal for you to try to exchange Barack Obama's U.S. Senate seat, that appointment, for something that would be of value to you. You agree that that would be wrong?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Personal, one for the other, personal gain, absolutely.
And you didn't do that?
Absolutely not.
The prosecutor's motion to use our interview with the governor in his trial was filed today, which sparked the weirdest series of internal NBC emails I have ever seen. We will let you know if the court decides it is admissible. We're told that could happen as early as tomorrow morning. We'll keep following what happens in the trial after that. And I've made it all the way through this story without once calling him Governor F-bomb.